I was with a whole bunch of CEOs last night, and they were talking about investing in the United States, question about bringing manufacturing back here, what the tariffs would do. And there's sort of a very interesting, almost behavioral science question, which is how long do the tariffs either have to be in place or do people have to believe that they are there and permanent forever before the companies decide, okay, actually we are going to invest, knowing or thinking that maybe they're actually going to come off later. How do you think about that?
Well, look, I think that most CEOs, and tariff is kind of the word of the moment, but I actually think what is going to determine the corporate behavior is going to be, do we have good tax policy? Can we make the Tax Cuts and Job Act permanent? Are we creating energy security so that they have the access to cheap energy? Are we going to deregulate, which is another big story of what happened the past 4 years?
The rationale for tariffs, it's jumped around a little bit. And I can give you, I wrote a few down. Fentanyl is why we're doing this, I guess, currently with Mexico and Canada. And there's been...
And China. They supply the precursor ingredients for fentanyl.
Reciprocal trades, you even have some of the skeptics kind of go, well, that makes some sense. Want to bring in domestic manufacturing, obviously, what you've talked about. Trade deficits, do you view those as inherently bad? I know the president always points to that, but we do consume, and we're always going to consume more than the rest of the world. And if you do indeed want a strong dollar, it seems like it's something we're going to have to live with. A couple of other ones, punishing bad behavior, security concerns with China. That's a whole slew of reasons to put on tariffs. And it just, at this point, I guess critics would say it looks a little haphazard, the way they go on, they come off. We talk to Mexico and Canada. Okay, we talk to the automakers. They don't want us to do it, so we're not going to do it. It just seems like it's being levied in a somewhat haphazard way. Is that not fair?
Of course it's not fair, Joe, but that's what you all do. So,
not all.
Look, it's not linear. It's an organic process, but if we were to look back to a similar process over, well, President Trump's talked about it in his first administration, he talked about it in the campaign trail, he's talked about it since November, is the need for Europeans to fund their own defense. And you just had a very long conversation with Pascas, and that all of a sudden, voila, this week, after 25 years of baiting and cajoling, President Trump achieved what 5 other presidents couldn't achieve. The Europeans are going to up their defense spending. The German debt brake is coming off. That was not a linear process. That was not always an attractive process. But now the Europeans say that they are going to pay their fair share.
I mean, this could all make sense in terms of the art of the deal. I mean, I could see it working, but I could also see it not lasting months or even years, the tariffs. I could see, because it does seem near term, it could be disruptive to the stock market, it could be disruptive to the bond market, it could be disruptive to the economy and to jobs and everything else. But if there's a method to it where, maybe they don't go on April 2nd, if the president gets what he wants, are we necessarily going to be in a tariff world for the next 4 years?
Well, look, I think some level of tariffs are going to be necessary, just given
long term.
Well, we'll see long term, but just given the level of imbalances, and right. the other thing too is, like, if we take China, China is the most unbalanced economy in modern times. They have a very different economic system than we have, and we have let them export their economic system to us, which has resulted in lower wages, loss of the manufacturing base. One very good example would be, as you could see, President Trump is scouring the earth to make sure that we have our strategic and critical minerals. Right. That's great, but 85% of the refining of those and processing happens in China. Every time a Western company sets up a processing firm, Chinese competitors drop their prices and put them out of business.